Welcome back to one of my favorite sports podcasts, Frizz and the Grizz, with your host Trudeau and my guy, Keith Frizzy Frizz.
Hello and welcome back to Frizz and the Grizz. It's your boy Trudeau. Thank you for joining us live Tuesday, February 11th, or next in your podcast, Apple, Spotify, all those good places. By the way, D, numbers are rising. The people have listened. They were telling their friends. We implore you that are listening and watching, keep on doing what you're doing. We appreciate the support. And tell your friends. Spread the word. Frizz and the Grizz, it's a good listen. Great for the car ride. Great for the kids. Maybe not. We curse too much, but it's a good show. We appreciate you all that contribute to this great product. Great show for you today. Not a great Super Bowl, but we're going to talk about it today. Super Bowl 59 is done in the books. We have a lot to discuss, lots to go over. But first, D, what it do?
What it do? What it do? What it do? Happy Tuesday. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear it?
Nah, that's the one thing about the new platform. You don't get the...
Why can't you get... Wait, hold on. Yeah, you can. Here it is.
There you go.
Word.
You just missed the button, man.
I didn't have it up. Well, that sounded terrible. I didn't have the sound up, so we're good. It was muted, but we're good now.
First things first, D, Super Bowl's over. What were you chowing on the Super Bowl? Like, the big thing is, what do we eat?
I was housing some garlic parm wings from shout out to Wegmans, and we were downing some crab cakes from Wegmans.
Okay. Interesting combination. I like both.
Mhm.
Together, I don't know about that, but I'm following you on that.
See, the thing is, you got to get what's best for you. So the missus knows that I love me some chicken wings. Not only do I love chicken wings, but I down garlic parm wings. She likes them, but she doesn't love them. She loves crab. So like, she got what she loves. She got me what I love. And we kind of just like, all right, I'm going to eat. If there's 20 wings, I'm going to house 15, 16 of them. 2 or 3 crab cakes. And she had, her crab cakes and then had a couple pieces of chicken.
Well, let us know in the chat, you guys watching live, what you had for Super Bowl. Give me your best Super Bowl dish. Myself, I told you before the show, smoked up a couple racks of ribs. Got 8 inches of snow. Smoked up ribs in the snow. I'm dedicated to the art of food. It was worth it, though, my man.
I don't blame you on that one, but my goodness. And is it supposed to snow for you guys again, like this week?
It's a winter wonderland up here, man, in the Northeast.
I don't miss it. Not even a little bit, man. I'm sorry that you had to deal with that.
You used to snowboard, too, though. I figured you'd like that stuff.
So that's the thing. I love snowboarding. I hated the snow. It's weird to say. I actually wore my jacket today just because it's raining outside. I use it as my rain jacket. But I loved when we would go snowboarding. Hated like when it would snow, because like at least when it's snowing out and you can go snowboarding, like you're there, you're doing an activity, like it's cold, but you don't really notice it because like you're sweating while you're going down the mountain, and then you go drink after, you go eat after. But like when it just snows and you got to go to work, like you got to put that shit somewhere. If it's snowing in the morning, you got to shovel and clean off your truck or car. That's annoying. You're not snowboarding in your backyard.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, D, I told you I had a little surprise for you before the show.
Very interesting.
I want to give you the surprise now. So I wanted to do something to honor the biggest trade of the century, the NBA, because I'm a big NBA guy. So I put together a little something to memorialize the trade. Do you want to hear it?
I'm here for it.
All right. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. I think he did it again. Fell onto the floor. Now out for the game. Oh, AD Luka might seem like a slob, but doesn't mean he's not serious. But to lose all your senses and trade him for AD. Oh, Nico, oops, he did it again. 3 quarters go by, and he's lost for the game. Oh, AD, oops, now AD is done. Luka's gone, you didn't get a ton. Fire Nico. You see, the problem is this: trading players away. True franchise players, they rarely exist. Fans cry watching the trade. Nico's a fool in so many ways. But to lose all your senses and trade Luka for AD. Oh, Nico, oops, he did it again. 3 quarters go by, now he's lost for the game. Oh, AD, oops, now AD is done. Luka's gone, you didn't get a ton. Fire Nico Harrison.
You traded a generational talent who is still in his prime, and you're giving all these excuses about his physical condition. It's just so stupid.
Fire Nico! Fire Nico! What about the fans?
And you got the nerve to sit up there and put on and call the officers and complain to executives about somebody that went on national television to do their job. Why don't you do your damn job as an organization? Y'all are sorry. Y'all are pathetic.
Fire Nico! Fire Nico!
What a production from the producer on the show, Mr. Steven Trudeau.
You like that?
Wow, that was amazing. I gotta ask though, do you use like Google ChatGPT or AI to get the lyrics for that?
No, I made them up myself.
That is hilarious. You should win an award for that, like some type of award, Golden Globe or whatever they want to call it, Grammys if you want.
I'd like to think in an alternate universe, I could have been the second coming of Weird Al Yankovic, you know?
Maybe, but damn, good for you. That was hilarious. Shit.
Yeah, that's the hilarious thing is the trade goes down. The Mavs get AD in
2 quarters in.
3. He gets to the third quarter and he's done and gone for at least a month.
Like, I know we're gonna talk more about football, but like when I saw the injury, I was just like, he didn't even hit anybody. Just quad / groin / sternum, like whatever it was from his stomach down, and he just out. And I'm like, there was talking heads saying that like they're gonna be representing the West again, and I'm like,
Not today.
sorry that you got hurt, man, but Luka looked good. Tell you that.
Mavs fans are in shambles. All right, let's talk some football. Enough with this basketball nonsense. The Super Bowl is supposed to be the greatest game in America, the biggest game, the big game. Boy, that was the biggest dud I've ever seen.
It was such a letdown. And then like Monday morning quarterback, you look back and you're just like, nah, this was probably going to happen the whole time. But like we talked ourselves up thinking it was going to be a good game because of who the quarterback is for the Chiefs. And then you look at the Eagles roster and go, no, that's the best team in the NFL. They're really fucking good. Not only are they good, but they're coached well, disciplined, and they play angry. Every single one of them. Maybe not Jalen. He is more calm, cool, and collected, but he's maniacal. He's like a surgeon where he's just like, I'm going to get back at you guys. Not going to talk about it. Not going to boast about it. Just give me my chance to get my get back. And he looked like the best quarterback in the NFL on Sunday.
All right, there's a lot of ways to take this and places to start.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just talk about the Chiefs offense because I think the Chiefs defense was okay. I know they gave up a ton of points, like 40 points, but to be fair, there was a pick 6 and a couple short fields. So the biggest disappointment was the Chiefs offense, and it was somewhat predictable, right? You mentioned it. The Chiefs have been riding all year on this mojo that I told you, D, they would fall on their face at some point. I didn't think they'd make it this far, right? They've been squeaking by, razor thin margins. In general, nobody was good on that offense. Even Patrick Mahomes was not himself.
No.
The biggest thing, though, is goddamn, dude, that Eagles defensive line ate the Chiefs for breakfast. They were just overpowered. I'll just say that.
I have never watched a game, and you can pull the stats if you'd like, but like I've never seen a football game. Sorry, let me not use this. I've never been a part of or seen, and probably between the two of us, like we've played a shit ton of football, right? Like we both played in college, we both played high school, everybody played Pop Warner growing up, so on and so forth. Some people played post college with like semi-pro, whatever. We've watched even more, right? I have never seen a game 60, 70, 80 plays deep where a defensive coordinator doesn't call a blitz. They created pressure they had 80 plays with like 4 guys or sometimes 3 the entire game. Not to say that Patrick Mahomes isn't because he is clearly one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the game. I don't care what happens in this game. He's going to go down as a Hall of Famer, one of the best to do it. He may win another 1 or 2 Super Bowls between now and when he retires. He's only 25. That being said, you could be Superman, but if you could create pressure up the middle 4 edges with 4 guys and then sit back and drop 7, yeah, it's going to be really, really hard to stop anybody, to catch any pass, to draw any type of running lanes or anything like that when your D tackles and your defensive ends are just causing havoc. What's going on over there?
Can you try talking to the side of the mic? You're like all over the place volume wise.
I'm right here now.
Yeah, it's okay.
Damn. So you told me to talk into the front of the mic, and now you're saying don't do it now.
I just figure out why you're going in and out, but it's okay.
Well, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine. It's just like high and low, but okay. Yeah,
I'll turn it up. Maybe that helps.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was just 4-man rush. Like the Eagles' defense schematically wasn't super impressive. Like they didn't have to do a lot. Like Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, didn't have to do anything exotic. The game plan was simple: 4-man rush, and we're going to cover everything short. They took away the middle of the field. They took away the short routes, and they basically said, "Hey, you can beat us deep, but I don't think you'll have time to do that." And that was absolutely the case. You saw Andy Reid try to pivot a little bit, and when they encounter a lot of pass rush, they throw a lot of screens. And to the credit of the Eagles, they ate up all of the screens. There was one play where they ran a halfback screen and just let the defensive lineman come in. And I was amazed. And I told my wife, I'm like, that was an amazing play by the D-line because they all recognized the screen immediately. Mm-hmm. So these guys are running 100 miles per hour at Patrick Mahomes and have the wherewithal in the Super Bowl to sniff out every screen. Like there was absolutely no chance for the Chiefs to generate offense. I would have liked to see them at least try to run the ball a little more. I know it wasn't super effective, and they had to abandon it early because they found themselves in a big hole. But that balance could have maybe helped them. Yet again, like Isaiah Pacheco, their best back, while he was available, he just came back from, I think, something broken in his leg, so he wasn't 100% either. The moral of the story with the Chiefs is like razor-thin margins all year to get victories, and their game plan has been consistently in the playoffs, dink and dunk. And the Eagles dared them to do something else, and they can't pivot because they don't have time offensively. Patrick Mahomes would have been on his back if he tried to throw deep. There was no plan of success for the Chiefs. Like there was literally nothing Andy Reid could have done. I don't think maybe there is, but I just think they were so overmatched personnel-wise that no sorts of schematics could have really helped them out.
Well, they tried to pivot. They tried to throw the ball deep. He didn't have time to do that, at all. Kelsey became irrelevant across the middle. I would have loved to have seen, I can't remember who their backup tight end is, but
Noah Gray.
Noah Gray. I would have loved to see him trying to create something just by separation. But again, if you have the ability to only rush 4 and cause havoc with 4, there were times where they were in shotgun. He got the snap, and before he even took a step back for his 3-step drop on his shotgun play, he had people in his face. So, those tackles were just getting bullied, preventing him from being able to run around the pocket. He was scrambling for his life back there, obviously. But, they were preventing him from getting out on the edge and making a play. If they did miss, the limited times that they created pressure and he got on the edge, it was 4 receivers versus 7 defenders. That interception that he threw to Zach Braun had no reason to get picked off. He got hit, obviously. But why did it get picked off? Because the linebacker sit in zone. All right, look, I don't have to blitz the mic. I don't have to send an edge rusher, a corner off the edge. Let's just sit back and everybody read Pat's eyes. And gets hit, ball goes right to him as he's sitting in zone. Pat didn't throw the ball directly at him. He got hit, but there happened to be a defender there because they didn't have to blitz anybody.
Well, that's the thing. If you bring extra pressure, which you do a lot of times against elite quarterbacks, which the Eagles didn't have to, when you bring the extra pressure, 2 things are true. You're either playing man, which as a defensive player, and people are savvy to football. Man coverage is terrible against a mobile quarterback because you're playing zone, you have eyes on the quarterback. If he tries to scramble, you can come up and make a tackle. If you play man, your back's to the quarterback. So if he gets out of the pocket, he's going for 10, 15 yards. So they played zone. If you play zone with a blitz, there's going to be holes in the zone somewhere, and a smart quarterback like Mahomes can pick it off. Being able to get pressure with just 4 really, really limits what you're able to do on offense. Typically, if you're rushing 4, you have opportunities to like sit back in the pocket, but that was not the case. The biggest thing for the Chiefs moving forward, like, I know people are going to say they need to get weapons. No. They need to draft some big boys up front to protect Mahomes. This was very reminiscent of Tampa Bay versus Kansas City, where Mahomes is on his back. And to be fair to Mahomes, like he was excellent in the Tampa Bay versus Kansas City game. Like for what he was dealing with, he performed fairly well under those conditions. Sunday was a different story. Like I understand
the difference.
What's that?
4 years later and 2 injuries later. Like, I'm not saying Mahomes isn't like, he's not injury prone, but he got hurt 2 seasons ago. Like, he had an ankle injury going into the playoffs 2 seasons ago. I think last year he had an ankle injury.
He had an ankle injury this year too.
Going into the Super Bowl. So it's like his second Super Bowl, 3 years in the league. Not saying that like he's old by any means, but like that shit catches up to you when he was able to be very mobile and sprint around the pocket against, Nakobe Dean and all those big dudes up the middle for the Bucks. But like 4 years later, couple of injuries later, like that shit catches up to you. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's a mobile quarterback. He's not a scrambler.
Well, I was going to say he looked rattled in this game. I think it was one of those scenarios where like, you think about like a boxing match or UFC match, like you can get punched hard and you get rattled, but you need to just like survive until, that wears off. The Eagles punched them early and they just never let up, right? Like they had him on the ropes the entire time. And Mahomes just never seemed
very uneasy.
Very uneasy the whole time. And he tried at one point. So like to your point, you said they prevented him from leaving the pocket. So he started to become more of a pocket quarterback. He would try to just kind of stay in the pocket versus stepping up and getting out of the pocket. And even then, like you mentioned, the pressure up the middle, they were jacking the guards back into him. And I think another thing that was super impressive was with this Eagles pass rush, it wasn't just one guy getting to him. Like you see this happen a lot with some of the great quarterbacks like Mahomes and Josh Allen. They're so big that they can kind of get away from that one guy. Every single sack was 2-3 guys putting an arm on him, holding him, and gang tackling from the defensive line, which you don't see often because, again, you have 4 defensive linemen fighting off blockers, and for them all to get there like almost simultaneously, dead on arrival, the Chiefs.
So, was it Josh Sweat? I believe Jordan Davis. And then Jalen Carter, who didn't register a single statistic. Those 3 are just as fast as linebackers. So, like, they were. This isn't your Ted Washington, Vince Wilfork pressure, Holodi Nata. Like, this isn't that tackle DN pressure up the middle and edges. These are linebackers that run 4.4 speed. Weigh 250 pounds and are athletic as fuck going up against your tackles and guards. Center straight, Creed Humphrey is not bad. But, like, those tackles and guards look so overwhelmed. Well, like, they had no idea how to handle the speed, the power, and the skill behind just those 3 guys.
Yeah, the funny story on Sweat. What's Sweat's first name?
Josh
Sweat. We're watching the game. My wife's like, it must suck being this like Mahomes. Like these guys are scary, like coming after him. And I'm like, yeah, she's like, I'm gonna look up the Sweat guy. She goes, oh man, he's like 6'4", 250. I'm like, I bet you he's real fast. And she looks up his I'm like, look up his 40 time. And she doesn't know what that means, like a 40 time, what the numbers. His 40 times a 4.53. That's insane.
For those that are unaware of how fast a 4.53 is, go look at like your typical receiver that you think is fast, or people that are, and I guarantee you a 4.53 will surprise you when it is a 6'4", 260-pound man moving that fast. Like, that is insane.
It makes me wonder if the Super Bowl matchup were the Bills, if the Bills had beaten the Chiefs, what this would have looked like, or if it was the Ravens versus the Chiefs, or the Ravens are on. No, yeah, the Ravens are on the other side.
Yeah,
If it was the Bills or Ravens versus the Chiefs
what do you mean the Eagles?
versus the Eagles, excuse
Yes.
me, yeah. Thank you, D. Because those are two teams that are more power run, especially the Ravens. Um, the Eagles make a living off of terrorizing quarterbacks, and you mentioned all these guys on the defensive line. They're not your Vince Wilfork type. They're not your run stuffers. Like, how would the Eagles fared against a Bills or a Ravens who want to pound the rock up the middle with like Derrick Henry or James Cook? Like, that would have been a much better matchup to take down the Eagles. I just think superior roster for the Eagles and just a poor matchup as far as the Eagles' strength versus what the Chiefs ultimately had to do.
Yeah, that's not their game. That's not the Chiefs' game by any means. Power running is never or will never be the Chiefs' game. That's not how Andy Reid coaches. Dating back to when he had Westbrook, McNabb, and T.O. with the Eagles, right? It was always about quick passes, West Coast type, take shots over the top, right? So, like, matchup wise, you probably would have seen a better, more competitive game with the Bills. And that's not saying that, like, the Bills were better than the Chiefs. Clearly, one team beat them, but just player for player, style per style. Yeah, I think you would have seen. And I beg to differ about Baltimore because Baltimore gets into games and they forget that they're a running team and then they want to throw the ball 40 times a game. So, like, I don't know about them, but I know with the Bills, if this were a college football, like, the better matchup they should have been ranked number 1. It would have been the Bills versus the Eagles, just based off of the way that those teams are. And Josh Allen being more athletic. He's more athletic than Mahomes. It's not a shade at Mahomes. Like, Mahomes is a better quarterback, but Allen is a running back that plays quarterback. Like, he has the ability to do that. He sees lanes. He's got the arm to get the ball wherever he needs to. Weapons wise, probably a little bit better weapons for the Bills just because they're younger. You know, you got Xavier Worthy for the Chiefs, but that was really it. Hopkins looked like he was 70 years old. Kelsey couldn't get open. I'm trying to think of anybody else that really contributed in the passing game. Juju Smith had a catch early, but, like, that was it. There really wasn't anybody that contributed for the Chiefs. Whereas the Bills, you know, they got the young kid from Florida State, can't remember his name. They have people that actually, like, they have threats, we'll say that, compared to the Chiefs offense that benefit from
Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman, thank you. Yeah. They got threats, I would say, compared to the Chiefs, who have guys that benefit from having 15 as their quarterback.
We can all disagree. This Eagles defense is absolutely elite. I have a question, but before we get to that question, what a time we live in, D. We have in the Super Bowl a black quarterback winning the Super Bowl and a white cornerback getting a pick six.
So I've seen so many things of, like, shouts to, you know, Jason Sehorn, by the way, because not only was the I would say the revolutionary white corner to, like, hold on, and he never became a safety. Like, he held on to being a corner. For all those that wanted to be a corner, that grew up living and looking just like, and then we went 30 years without seeing it again. We've seen it dabbled here and there. You know, one of my old teammates, he played corner. Shouts to, you know, Bolsey. So, like, you saw a dabble here and there, but you didn't really see people dominate at that position. Cooper DeJean is a dominant corner.
That dude.
He's not a slot corner. He is a shut down, like, 4.3 speed, 40-inch vert corner. Like, those that thought he wasn't him, he's that guy. He got that ball and looked like a wideout. Like, he's like, I'm scoring and I'm doing this just like I say for, you know, basketball and for football. He got that ball and said, I'm doing this for the culture, and was like, ain't nobody tackling me on this one. And I was happy. Hey, man, do your thing. You are balling out, kid. Keep doing it.
His first touchdown in the NFL comes in the Super Bowl. Gotta love it.
Birthday, which was, like, crazy.
I know Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl MVP, but if you can't give it to any one of those defenders, but I mean, the Super Bowl MVP is really Eagles defense.
100% on that one. If you could have handed it out to multiple people, it would have been just the entire defensive line.
Fair enough. I was going to ask you, so this Eagles defense is elite. How would you rank it compared to some of the other elite defenses we've seen in Super Bowl in the past? So I'm throwing out for names: the Legion of Boom, Seattle Seahawks, the 2004 Buccaneers defense with Sapp and John Lynch and Derek Brooks. You could throw out the Ravens defense of Terrell Suggs and Ray Lewis. I'm trying to think of some other dominant defenses in Super Bowl history.
Steelers defense with James Harrison.
Yeah.
What's the name in the back? Polamalu in the backfield. Not Trotter, but dude that looks like he's man, I can't remember now. But yes, those defenses. I'm not ready to rank them as like a top 5 Super Bowl defense yet. The only reason why though is because we saw it late. This is the exact same team that they had last year when they had their problems. Addition to Cooper DeJean, so like I'm not gonna say as good as I'm saying.
He fixed the secondary a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not as good as he is. I'm not gonna say he's the reason why. Like Slay was still there last year. Like they still had some players. Majority of 9 out of 11 people that were on the starting roster for this season were starters last year. So I'm not ready to say that they are better than Legion of Boom or the Steel Curtain types or even the Ravens, just because you feared those defenses going into that Super Bowl. This one amplified how good they are, and now you got your eyes out there next year. If next year they do the same thing, you go, this is one of them defenses that you don't fuck with because 16 teams. I keep saying 16. I got to get the exact number when it comes to Jalen Carter, but when he got drafted, 9. Sorry, 8 teams decided to be stupid and look at the 6'3", 314-pound consensus and unanimous number 1 overall pick and go, I think he's going to get in trouble. Let's not draft him. And the Eagles are like, we'll take him.
Then you have a thing with car crash.
Yeah, car accident. He was there. He's a kid, dumbass, obviously. He walked away from the accident. Didn't have anything to do with it. Like he didn't get in trouble when it comes to
Remember what happened? I don't remember.
He was the driver of the car accident. He wasn't like drunk or anything like that. It just went. A couple people passed away, unfortunately, and he left the scene. So he got in trouble for leaving the scene of a crime, technically, but with it being people passing away. But like he wasn't drunk driving, he wasn't reckless driving. He just left, and he shouldn't have left, obviously.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that, he would have definitely went higher.
Number 1. He would have went number 1. He was literally the best defensive player on a national championship team. And then 8 teams were like, I don't know. And the Eagles were like, no. We'll take him at number 9. So, and shouts to, I don't know the owner, the GM, or the talent acquisition people for Philly, but they've hit for the past 5 years. Like, coming off of going and winning a Super Bowl against the Patriots with Nick Foles, they were like, let's draft the quarterback. Like, Foles put up 405 touchdowns against the Patriots, and they were like, let's draft the quarterback.
Yeah, the Eagles front office have been
able to do that is crazy.
They've been absolutely outstanding over the past 3 or 4 years. I can't think of a ton of misses they've had. Let's shift gears. We'll jump to the other side of the ball. We'll talk about the Eagles offense and the Chiefs defense. Overall, like I thought, all right, Jalen Hurts. I would say this. Was he amazing? I would say he wasn't amazing, but it wasn't his fault. Like he didn't have to do anything. He was very good, right? He did everything they asked for and then some. I think the biggest surprise as far as the matchup's concerned, and not really a surprise because I think it was probably an emphasis of focus for the Chiefs. Saquon Barkley, super pedestrian game against the Chiefs. They basically dared Jalen Hurts to beat them. They sent a lot of run blitzes. They had a hell of a lot of eyes on Barkley. Their game plan going in for the Chiefs was, if they're going to beat us, it's going to be Jalen Hurts, and he did that.
So the Chiefs made it maybe they needed to adjust, but they made it a plan to say Saquon's not going to beat us, and that's fine. But at some point, you got to adjust to the quarterback that is carving you up.
I agree.
So Jalen Hurts, he's not flashy. 17 for 22. I mean, 5 incomplete passes in a Super Bowl. Pretty damn good. 1 ugly interception. Like, that one was bad. So I won't take away that. But the dots that he was throwing to A.J. Brown, the scramble throw that he threw to Devontae Smith on the sideline, like a perfect ball. I think he even threw a pass across the middle to Goddard. It was Dallas Goedert that he caught. Like, where he had time to let the crosser develop for like 3 or 4 seconds over the linebacker right into get Dallas Goedert's hands. And then for those that like, unfortunately, I know some people bet on it. Sorry that, those that bet on Jahan Dotson being the first touchdown scorer and probably would have won hundreds of thousands of dollars. That pass was insane.
Yeah.
Like over the top, right in the breadbasket. Sucks that he got tackled at the 1. Because so many people text us like, oh, that sucks for the people that had him on the first touchdown score. Because what do they do right away? Line up. Hey, guys, those boys. Like, no Saquon, just Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown. Always going to be a thing. Get to the 1 yard line. So it wasn't. We didn't need him to have his moment in the Super Bowl because his runs got them to the Super Bowl, right? And if he gets back, hopefully he gets back. He scores a touchdown because we saw it haunt. I think Saquon will go down now that he's a Super Bowl champion. He will go down as one of the top 5 best running backs in the history of the game because of what he's on pace for if he stays healthy. But what's the one thing that what's the one thing that the family of the Paytons look back on and go, fuck, he did everything he could to be the best running back of all time, but he didn't score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Why? Because the Bears were up 70-0 against the Patriots, and they gave the ball to Refrigerator Perry for a rushing touchdown. And that, like, it doesn't hurt Walter Payton's legacy, but like to be the greatest running back of all time in a Super Bowl and you didn't score, that's what I look at with this. Like, Saquon is amazing. He's going to go down as one of the best backs. I just hope he gets back to the Super Bowl to get rid of what this will look like when they go, oh, he got to the Super Bowl, the talking people. He got to the Super Bowl and got stuffed. It's like, well, yeah, that was the plan. And then they let the quarterback go out for 230 and 70 yards on the ground. So, like, yeah, they stopped the running back, but they didn't really stop the best player on the team at that time, which was Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I thought you made an interesting point about pivoting strategy, and I think the Chiefs really made a mistake in not adjusting earlier. I get it, like you want to stop Saquon, but at some point you have to have a more balanced approach on defense to kind of mitigate what Jalen Hurts is doing and stopping the bleeding there. I'll give you a guess. How much time do you think Jalen Hurts had to throw, his time to throw in the game?
4 seconds.
3.7 seconds, which is an insane number. I think the average is something like
unreal
2.7. Some of your faster guys like Brady, when he won the Super Bowl, was getting the ball at like less than 2 seconds. Jalen Hurts had almost 4 seconds per drop back to throw. That's to say, we talked a lot about the Eagles' defensive line versus the Chiefs' offensive line and the domination there. Same thing goes on the offensive line as far as the Eagles' offensive line versus the Chiefs' defensive line. I know the Chiefs got Chris Jones, and he's a fantastic player, but that Eagles offensive line did a hell of a job in protecting Hurts and allowing a lot of that stuff to come. And that also highlights how hard the Chiefs pressed Saquon, because if they could stuff run like that and the Eagles had such an advantage protecting Hurts, it just shows that the advantage was Eagles offensive line and that the Chiefs just sold out so much on that run to their own demise.
But that's the part that aggravates me, because Spags is too good for this. He's one of the best defensive mindsets out there. It was like the third quarter when they were down. I'd have to find the exact score, when it's the third quarter. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Third quarter is 27-0. My goodness. But there was a play where like it was 2nd and 7, something like that. Toss left to Saquon, and everybody got hit in a scrimmage. And I was like, where's this intensity on a pass play? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the linebackers, corners, and linemen hurting on one player on a pass play? I understand, like, if you see this or this motion, we think it's this run play, sell out for it. But where's that when you're like, hey, it's third down, which he got torched on third down. And I say this, he is in Spagnuolo. They knew that they were blitzing every third down. Every single third down, Jalen Hurts was like, I don't even need to put anybody in motion. What did they do against Josh Allen last week? What did they do against the Ravens? What have they done the whole season? Oh, man to man. Yo, AJ, run straight. Devontae, get to the 10 yard, get 10 yards out and cut. every single third down, the Eagles were one step ahead of them because like the Chiefs were like, this is our bread and butter. This is what we're going to do. We're going to stick with this. There was a play where they sent 5, I think they sent 6, and Hurts adjusted it at the line where the tight end blocked and Saquon blocked, and it was just 3v3. You know how that is, and just when we play 7-on-7, it's damn near impossible to stop the wide receivers when they have the whole field to move. And Jalen Hurts is just like, well, nobody's here because my back is blocking. Saquon's one of the best blocking backs in the NFL, and I made sure that my tight end. So you guys are going to blitz on third down. We understand that. Max protect. Hey, AJ, go beat Trent McDuffie because you're just bigger and stronger than him.
It's funny. We always say like there's a old adage about do it in the postseason, right? Like, people can get their numbers in the regular season. Do it in the postseason when it's tough. Jalen Hurts, can you just do it in the regular season?
He doesn't need.
This man is absolutely incredible in the postseason. Like 2 Super Bowls we've seen him in, and both times he's been absolutely incredible. Like this guy just shows up for the biggest games. It's great. And again, you mentioned the lead-in rusher for the Eagles was Jalen Hurts. I think that was a big part of the game too.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did throw some spies on him, which they weren't very effective. But one thing I didn't understand was it seemed like they threw a lot of man coverage. A couple of the big runs I noticed, like they were running man to man. And we talked earlier in the show, you're playing man, defensive backs, linebackers, you got your back to the quarterback. So when the pocket did break down, there was no one there to stop him. I think he had on that big 20 or 15-yard run he had in the game. 17-yard run. Man-to-man coverage. It's just, I don't know what happened with the Chiefs, man. Again, I'm going back to my theory of like getting the haymaker punch early and just never getting a chance to just like catch your breath, because before they knew it, they're down 17 points and they're in scramble mode and they didn't make the proper adjustments. It's inexplicable all around the board. Mistakes from the Chiefs, poor adjustments by the coaching staff. It seemed like it was their first time here on the big stage. And let me ask you this. If you took away all the Super Bowl signage, if you took away the jerseys and gave them just generic white and blue jerseys, you would have thought this was a game between like the Panthers and the Ravens in week 3. That's how disorganized the Chiefs look.
You're not wrong at that. That's not even a question. That's a statement. It looked like the Chiefs had never been there before because it wasn't ugly until the middle of the second quarter, which is not like saying that like I know you said they got punched in the mouth, but it was only 7-0 at the end of the first. And there was always that feeling of, well, they just need to score, at least for me. They just need to score because they got the double dip. They kicked off to start the game. So even after the pick 6 with Cooper, yeah, it was only 17-0 at the time. So I'm like, all right, that's a tough one. But if they score on this drive, 7, you stop them. Maybe you get a field goal before half. But even if you don't,
interception.
You get. Well, that's what I'm saying. That they threw the pick, but then that's when DeAndre Hopkins dropped the crosser.
Yep.
Is a dime by Mahomes, and he fell over his own feet and dropped the ball. Then the Eagles got the ball, and they were like, "Well, we're not fucking kneeling it. We're gonna try to score." They score 20-yard touchdown pass, and it's just like, well, now you're like, all right, it's still a little tough. It's 24, but we've also seen somebody come back from 28-3. So like, you still have that in your mind, like it's 15. Like we've seen him come back 24 down. He did it against the Texans. Like he has done this before. You just gotta score before halftime, and then they didn't, and I was like, ooh, that's ugly. But they could score after halftime, and then things get a little weird. Then they get stopped again. I'm like, all right, like now this, because you can't be down 24-0 to a power running team, expect to come back. And they didn't. They got outclassed.
Yeah, I don't know how much more I have on the Eagles offense versus the Chiefs defense. Again, I think the big takeaway is that offensive line. And then we talked about before, the offensive line is absolutely scary to deal with. And, the Eagles were fortunate in being granted a lot of short fields through fumbles and interceptions. It just made their life a whole lot easier. Just in general, just over like a big overview of this game is the Chiefs again made their money this season and postseason by, we talked about it, they're not the best team on paper, like their roster, but they have Patrick Mahomes, who's one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen, and they don't make mistakes, right? They are a polished final product. And literally every mistake they could have made, they made. There was very little that you could watch the Chiefs do and think that was good, clean football.
Yeah, it was ugly. It was probably the worst game of Patrick Mahomes' career. It just happened to be the biggest brightest lights with history on the line. And I'm still not ready to say that like this is going to be a knock on his legacy or his career. Enough with people that are saying, don't talk to me about GOAT if he can't even win this game. Like I saw Tom Brady go in to a Giants Super Bowl laughing at somebody that said, hey, I think we can hold them to 17 points. And he goes, we're only going to score 17. They scored 14 and fucking lost. So like things happen, right? Like this is why it's literally called Any Given Sunday. The better team won. The right team won. But let's slow it down with this GOAT talk. Like the Chiefs had a miserable game. They have won 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. They're still that team. They just need a couple pieces when it comes to the line. And this is what happened with the Bucs. They got their doors blown off. They revamped their line, and then they ripped off 2 straight Super Bowls. So, like, I'm not ready to hang them up yet.
Yeah. And then the last takeaway, and it's not like a sexy thing for the casual fan or even like the moderate NFL fan, but everyone gets excited when you sign like the big running back. Ooh, we got Saquon. Ooh, we got this wide receiver. Ooh, we just got this quarterback. No one wants to talk about the big boys up front. And you know what? You get a good offensive line and your floor is so much higher than you could have ever imagined. If you have a good offensive line, you're not getting blown out. And everything starts up front. We love the big boys up front. Their job sucks a lot of the times, but it's the most important job in football. And just consider more when your team drafts that number one, that first round offensive lineman, you're not super excited. You know, you're the Chargers, you draft Joe Alt. It's like, well, that's good, I guess. It's not exciting. Those pieces mean more to your team than anything you can imagine.
I have, and I know this is draft talk, so I won't go too deep into it, but I have never gotten upset with the Saints drafting an offensive lineman or defensive lineman. I don't care what round it is. I don't care what athlete is out there. You can never go wrong with getting, and unless you're the Patriots, because they sucked at drafting. They drafted D3 players, though. Like that's their problem. But you literally can't go wrong with drafting a Division I Power 5 offensive or defensive lineman. Like they just help your team guard to tackle, center, or end to D tackle. They help everybody on the field. So shout out to the scouting department for the Eagles that have just hit with all of their picks and signing free agents.
Well, you think about it. You have a good offensive line. Your quarterback has extra time to play. He is elevated. His game's elevated. You played defensive back for a long time. You have a good defensive line. Instead of covering a guy man to man for 4 seconds, you're covering them for 2 seconds. Right? It's hard as hell to play defensive back. And every second means everything when you're fighting for your life to try to stop a guy from catching a ball. I'm telling you, man, you get an offensive, defensive line. It's like to basketball terms, it's like having like a good point guard. He elevates everyone's game around him, and that's just a hard lesson the Chiefs will have to walk away with. And I'm sure they're going to be focusing heavily on fixing it up in the offseason. Good news is though, D is back. It's been a long time. D's back with the Frizzes 5. I'm very excited.
Prepare yourselves for the greatest and most unique segment in podcast history. Let's rank some stuff with D. It's time for Frizzes 5.
Woo!
Oh, it's been a while since I've done one of those. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm glad your bum ass decided to do a Frizz 5. The Grizzlies 5 have been carrying us recently.
Yeah, man. Well, look, and this is a shout to those that are listening now. You know, if you weren't with us 2 years ago when we started this, Frizz did Frizz's 5 every goddamn episode for like a year and a half straight. We are on episode 116. So, like, I'm pretty sure the first 100 I had, maybe not 100, maybe like the first 80 I had a Frizz's 5. It's exhausting thinking about these. So I'm glad that Grizz was able to help us out with his secondary low life B grade, 5. But now we got the real top 5. So let's kick this off.
All right. So what are we actually ranking today? You didn't tell us.
So today, granted, we understand that football is over. It sucks, right? We got to go another 6 months, not even 4 months, without us talking or thinking about football. But I'm going to wrap this up when it comes to how Super Bowls are. I love the Super Bowl game. This one was a blowout, but my top 5 is going to be the top 5 most exciting Super Bowls.
Okay. It's top 5 most exciting Super Bowls from D. I'm just guessing this one's not going to be on it.
You're going to guess which one's knocking on it. What do you mean?
I said I'm guessing this past Super Bowl is.
Oh, no, not even remotely fucking close. This one goes down as like one of the worst Super Bowls to watch. What was that? The Broncos and Seahawks? Super Bowl 50, I think it was, when it was a blowout at the first quarter. That one was bad. But
All right.
number 5, what I'll do is, just so we'll make it for production, I'll say the number. You can either cheer or you can boo, and then I'll tell you the matchup between it.
All right.
Number 5, I'm going with Super Bowl 50.
I don't know what the matchup is.
That is the Patriots versus Falcons.
I didn't think about that one. That's a good one. 28-3.
28-3. Mr. Tom Brady and Mr. Sid on the edge of the little bench, pissed off. We all know the bird's eye view of him sitting hunched over after he threw the pick 6. Look, I remember this game and the amount of text messages that got sent out after the pick 6 and him chugging along and then diving to try to tackle. And they were down 24-0 at that time. That was 21-0 at that time. It was crazy. And then we saw one of the craziest, if not the best, comebacks in Super Bowl history for the fact that the Patriots were able to bring the team all the way back, starting with the sack on third down with Matt Ryan, turned into a fumble. Then the incredible Julian Edelman catch, the Julio Jones sideline catch that would have went down as the best catch in Super Bowl history, to then the sacks 2 plays later because the Falcons can't call the right play. And then the Amendola touchdown, Edelman sneak pass interference that they didn't call in overtime with the running back. So a hell of a game to watch. I thought that one was dope. Even though I'm not a Patriots fan, it's still a dope game to watch.
I remember watching that game with my wife on the couch. I think the Patriots were still down more than a touchdown at this point. It may have been down 14. They scored the touchdown to bring it to 14. And I look at her and I'm like, I think the Patriots could win this. This is crazy. Like, you could just tell the momentum was 100% on the Patriots side. You had Tom Brady. The Falcons looked shook. That was one of the craziest games I've ever seen.
It was just an incredible comeback. Like, no lie. But that's number 5. So I'm hoping this list is dope for y'all. Number 4, Super Bowl 34, Rams Titans.
I don't remember this one.
Might be before your time then. I'm going to roll this one all the way back to 2000. So this is the first Super Bowl of the new millennium. Basically the greatest show on turf with Kurt Warner, Isaac Bruce. I'm pretty sure they had Marshall Faulk as the running back.
Oh, wait. Was this the one at the end of the game with the stretch?
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
I got you.
Just a back and forth game. And, at the end of the game is 23-16. And Steve McNair is leading his team down the field. 6-yard pass, 7-yard pass, 15-yard pass, 7-yard run. One of the greatest drives put together. And then, go ahead.
You just made me smile mentioning Steve McNair because I haven't thought about him in like 10 years. Air McNair. That was such a fun time.
Yep. Unfortunately, he passed away.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. to Steve McNair. But led a great drive down the field. And third down, clock's running, 7 seconds left. slant to Kevin Dyson. He catches it at the 3-yard line and gets tackled while stretching, and the ball gets down at the half-yard line. Again, I was 13 at the time, so like just getting my feet wet and loving the sport of football. I remember jumping up out of my chair and be like, touchdown! Oh, he got stopped. Just like the raw emotion of not having a horse in the race, but like just loving the game of football and be like, that's a touchdown. And like, oh my God, he got stopped. And this was, I think, before instant replay. Before challenges. So like, you just see the replays over and over of him stretching out. He gets down and then he reaches again, be like, no, I wasn't down. And they're like, no, you was down. And the whole Friday Night Lights moment. That's it. That's the ball game. Everybody rushes off.
It's crazy.
Yeah, man, that was a dope ending to a Super Bowl.
Now I see the angle of this versus 5. You're gonna sneak in the Saints Super Bowl, aren't you? In here, so
number 3, Super Bowl 43, Steelers versus Cardinals.
Great game.
So this one is easily. It's not. I would say like I think the most exciting, but probably my favorite Super Bowl of all time to have watched. Reason being is you had a wild card Cardinals team, 9-7 at the time, and a 12-4 Steelers team that just beat the Patriots to get to the Super Bowl. They had that steel curtain defense that we were talking about with Polamalu in the backfield. Linebackers, I probably could go find them. I'm not going to search, but offensive-wise, rookie Ben, you had fast Willie Parker, Santonio Holmes, Hines Ward, like all these dominant players. And we saw a pick six.
James Harrison
at halftime of him going 100 yards. Larry Fitzgerald sprinting 120 yards across the field to make the tackle. And we saw a fourth quarter of like, I think it was 21 points of touchdown within 3 minutes of the Steelers scoring, Larry Fitzgerald taking a slant 70 yards, and then Ben Roethlisberger throwing one of the best passes in the history of football, back right corner to Santonio Holmes, who catches the ball out of bounds in Timmy Toe Tap's feet for the game-winning touchdown. Like, I get goosebumps about that, man. That throw, that catch, and then everything that led up to that game-winning touchdown was just incredible, man.
Man, you bring back so many memories of so many good games. It makes me so sad that we just watched this slop on Sunday.
Well, that's the reason why I had to do one of these, because I was like, this one kind of sucked. This Super Bowl was kind of a lame duck. But we got ourselves number 2. And again, this is my list. This is how I see it. It's my 5.
It's the Saints.
Still top 5. Number 2, Super Bowl 49, Patriots versus Seahawks.
Great game.
This is up there as, again, one of the best games to watch. If you're not like, if you're just a casual football fan, go back this game. So a little slow to start. First quarter was 0-0. Then we had some explosiveness right before halftime. The fourth quarter is when it became ridiculous. So the Patriots were down 2 scores. We saw, an incredible catch. Gronk scores his touchdown, so on and so forth. They tie the game. They take the lead 28-24. As the Seahawks are driving the field, Russell Wilson throws this duck of a pass. And I can't remember who the wide receiver was that goes up to catch it, but like it gets tipped by Malcolm Butler. He falls on the ground and the ball lands in his lap as he's on the ground. He gets up. Malcolm Butler's like, oh my God, he caught it. If he didn't have the wherewithal to go tackle him and he just thought it was an incomplete pass, he gets up and goes, yeah, incomplete pass. He gets up and he scores, but he looks and goes, oh my God, he caught it. Tackles him. Very key. Marshawn Lynch, the best running back in the NFL at the time, gets the ball at the 9-yard line and gets 7 yards on first down and gets tackled by the goal. The next play, what does Pete Carroll do? Run her up the middle to beast mode, right? Absolutely not. The motherfucker calls a slant pass where Malcolm Butler picks it off at the 1 7-yard line. Like everybody knew was a run play, including Marshawn Lynch until the huddle broke and he goes, "Oh, y'all are passing? Ooh, let me see what happens." Picked off. Like he knew it was going to be an interception before the play even happened. Which is
I think the Seahawks had something like, if I remember correctly, like a 95% win probability at that point on the 2-yard line, and they ended by losing the game.
99. Like there's no way you have beast mode Marshawn Lynch, who just got a 7-yard gap on first down to bring you to the 2-yard line, and then you throw the ball because you wanted Russell Wilson to be the MVP, and there was headbutting between Pete Carroll and Marshawn Lynch. Like, absolutely insane.
I wonder what number one's going to be now. I got to give you the drum roll.
Give my drum roll, please. The most exciting Super Bowl in the history of Super Bowls is Super Bowl 44, Saints versus Colts. I'll give myself a round of applause. Reason being, I don't care what you say, any game that's going on, that Saints defense that year, Bounty was one of the best defenses in the NFL. Not only did they take out Kurt Warner all the way, they took out Brett Favre and then went up against Peyton Manning. So Tracy Porter picked off, Brett Favre the week prior or 2 weeks prior in the NFC Championship. Peyton Manning with one of the most dominant offenses, having Joseph Adai. They had Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison,
tight end too.
Dallas Clark. They had Jeff Saturday as offensive lineman. Y'all see him on every day on Sports Talk. They had Bob Sanders at corner. They had Pollard at linebacker. They had a dominant team, and the Saints were losing at halftime. What does Sean Payton do? The most ballsy call in the history of sports. Onside kick to his sideline to start the second half. Saints get it. New momentum. Saints take the lead. Reggie Bush scores a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Incredible. That's not the most exciting part. The most exciting part is 18 has the ball with the chance to tie the game. 3-step drop, throws a hitch over to Reggie Wayne, and what happens, Trudeau? Who picks that pass off?
You tell me, D.
Mr. Tracy Porter picks it off, finding his way all the way to the end zone after Katrina, after everything that happened in New Orleans, after all of the momentum that they had from losing and being the Aints with bags on their heads. He took it for the city. He took it for the state. They go in and win their first and only Super Bowl. It is the best Super Bowl ever, hands down. What about your business with that?
Listen, man, I don't know how that feels. My team, the Buccaneers, have only been to 2 Super Bowls, and each time we've gone, we've absolutely obliterated the opponent. Yeah. So no good games I've ever watched with my team. It's just domination, which is, that's also a fun feeling.
Yeah. It's more exciting when a play happens and like you jump about your seat with pure excitement and adrenaline, like you're on the field running the touchdown back with him, because I definitely was doing that running around the house. Like
the finger, the whole
I do the finger because I didn't know he did that. I was running around the house. Oh, this is going back. Like I was to when he picked that pass off and he gave a little juke, and then he starts to point like this is ours, gets into the end zone and gives them this.
I'm happy for you for that moment.
That was.
And then you got Kellen Moore now. He might do some things. You just Saints might be back, man.
I heard that we might be bringing in Staley as the offensive coordinator. We'll see. Chargers didn't have the greatest of offenses, but like usually when a head coach goes down to a coordinator, like they know a little bit more than a typical coordinator. So I wouldn't be mad at that either.
He just won a Super Bowl as the Eagles OC. So he obviously knows what he's doing. He's been around for a while.
For sure.
So, I mean, it can't get any worse for the Saints.
That's for God. Well, it can. For another show. We're not going to talk about it on this show is what's going on.
All right, I was thinking of what we should do next. Let's just hit up the closing takes, throw some NBA stuff on at the closing takes, and we'll be talking a lot of basketball the next several months, I think. But now it's time.
The show is coming to an end. But first, it's time to get to anything we've missed. It's closing time. 1 segment, 2 takes. Now go.
All right, it's time for closing takes. It's a time for me and D to get off the last couple things off our mind, whether it be sports, pop culture, what have it. Before we get out of here, I want to talk. I've been itching to talk NBA. Deadline pass. We did talk a little bit about the moves, the Luka move, the Fox move, but we missed the stuff on Wednesday, Thursday. I wanted to talk about one in particular because it was one of the more bizarre things that happened over the deadline. D, your Lakers team acquired a center for but a day in Mark Williams. D, it was a very interesting scenario. Mark Williams goes to the Lakers for Dalton Connect, a really good first-round pick, by the way. It was a 2031 first-round pick.
2031, yep.
Unprotected, which is like supposedly pretty valuable. And the trade gets reneged because it didn't rescinded. Thank you, because it didn't meet the conditions of the trade. It was a medical issue. I have a little. I want to stop the music really quick. D, what if I told you that the Lakers knew very well that there would be potential medical concerns with Mark Williams? What if I told you they made a trade? They're like, we need a center, hurry. And then a day later, they're like, you know what? That was a lot we gave up for Mark Williams. Yikes. Well, there is a way to get out of this. His body's broken, didn't meet the conditions. Rescind. The thing with the deadline, D, is if the trade is rescinded after the deadline, it just falls apart. You can't renegotiate it. I'm just saying, if you're the Lakers, you can get cold feet on the move you made. Wouldn't it be a brilliant idea to just say, oh, yeah, he failed his physical, so no deal. Takes these backsies and redo it.
I'm going to 100% agree with you and say that's exactly what happened. I'm like 99% positive that like they knew that he would, because like I say this all the time, like how do people get traded when they're injured and then pass a physical? Luka was injured. You know what I'm saying? Like he had his calf strain, which is why he didn't play the first couple of games. So like people get injured all the time and get traded. But then in my mind, I was like, they did give up a lot for him. Like I could understand Dalton and I think there was somebody else that was involved. But like that pick too, I was like, could have used it somewhere else, but we got our center. And then you see it rescinded, and I'm like, yeah, they probably woke up and was like, we probably should this. We want it back. You guys can have him. We don't want to do it.
It's like they went out drinking with all their buddies and ran up their credit cards, and they're like, oh, fuck. Report fraud on that shit. Report fraud on that shit. It got stolen last night. It wasn't us. It wasn't us.
I wasn't in Vegas.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my tin hat theory on how that went down. That's what I wanted to share.
I think that's hilarious, and I would say that they probably there was something involved with that. With like he has to pass a physical, like that has to happen. That's part of sports. But like they probably knew he wasn't going to, and they were like, might have bit off a little bit more than we could chew. Let's pass. Take your ass back to Charlotte. You know what?
The Lakers said it wasn't the back that they failed him on, or the foot. It was something else that they didn't want to disclose. But there's thought in NBA circles that the real reason was they got cold feet.
They got fleeced. They needed a center, but they definitely gave up way too much. They would have given up way too much for him.
Yeah. So Jackson Hayes season in LA.
Yeah, and he looked good. Lakers look good, man. I'm still not ready to say championship caliber team, but they look damn good right now.
They look a lot better than the Mavs right now.
That's for damn sure.
By the way, it was funny that you were like, the Mavs need bigs, and I was like, they don't need bigs, bro. They need a big now. Because guess who got hurt last night? Gafford.
See, it's like I knew it was gonna happen.
They have zero centers
No.
right now on that team.
That's
And their
wrong.
roster is constructed in a way, and they're like at the cap, the hard cap, where they can't add any more players.
Mm.
See you later, Mavs.
Yeah, I was like, so much. I don't really have much. I know we talked a whole lot. I was focused on a lot of football this week. I will just give a shout out to what is it? The Unguarded. I think it's the Unrivaled.
Three.
Yeah, so it's actually switched. So they did through the 3v3 tournament, which was dope. And I remember I said it like with a question mark. It is 3v3 full court, but it has like a shorter court. So like it was smaller, which was pretty cool. But now they actually switched it up. And I watched this over the weekend. It's 1v1. Like they're doing a 8-second shot clock. And like you get somebody to check the ball. I mean, somebody from the sideline to pass it into you as the check, instead of like here you check it back. Like you get it almost like you're running a play. So like some girls were going into the post and like getting the ball, and like that's their check, is getting in the post. Skylar Diggins was getting the ball, and I'm sorry, I think it's Skylar Diggins something else. Can't remember what it was. Smith.
Smith? I don't know.
No, Skylar Diggins. She's nasty. She was nasty at Baylor, and she's been nasty since she's been in the WNBA. She's like 50 now. But like she was getting it and just like dribble, step back, shot. Reason why I'm giving this a shout out is because they're making the NBA All-Star game an absolute joke. Like it's just weird rules that they have now. We haven't even talked about it fully, but in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure as we get closer to the All-Star break, we're going to talk about it. This is something I wouldn't mind seeing incorporated in, because we see the 2 dribble max drill that stars do. Why don't we see a one-on-one, give them 7 seconds and go at it? Like I wouldn't mind seeing like a Jason Tatum and his bag go up against Jaylen Brown and see what he's got in the one-on-one game.
I would be curious if players just don't want to get embarrassed.
That's the problem with the
How about we don't get the All-Stars to do that tournament? We get just the most crazy bucket getters that are just bucket getters. Like give me a Jordan Clarkson who's not great at basketball, but he can get a bucket. Like give me like a who was the guy who won the 6th Man of the Year a bunch of times, bro? Like a chicken wing guy.
Yeah, Lou Williams.
Like that guy is a bucket getter. Jamal Crawford, those types of guys who like aren't never gonna be an all-star because they don't play defense, but just bucket getters. I want to watch them go at it.
You saying that, like, it hurts to hear, because that's where the NBA is going. It's the reason why the dunk contest died. The 3-point contest is slowly going backwards as like our snipers get older and they're not going to do it anymore. Like the NBA All-Star Weekend is fading really fast.
I don't want to give up too many goods because I'm sure we'll talk about this next week. Mm-hmm. But I heard a very good idea to fix the All-Star game.
That's called a big market for those that want to listen and watch us next week.
Can I just tell you now?
No, wait for next week.
All right.
Because the All-Star Weekend is in 2 weeks.
Okay, fair enough. Is that your closing take? Good shit.
That is my closing take.
Good shit, good show, bad Super Bowl. D, get us out of here.
The All-Star break is this weekend. But we're getting up out of here. We're not gonna give you that information right now.
Let me tell you the
No, wait till next week. And then if you say it's gonna be better than what we saw, you got something that's gonna be worse than what we saw, then don't even bring it up. It's Tuesday. Let's get up out of here. No, thank you guys. I think Trudeau even starting off the episode with saying it's been incredible what you guys have been able to see with following, liking, commenting on our social media platforms as we continue to grow. You know, all the platforms that you can find us on, whether it's not X anymore, Blue Sky. So you can find us on Facebook. You can find me on my Twitch, _Frizz5. You can find us on YouTube. There's all a bunch of platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. Website's also at the bottom, www.frizzandthegrizz.com. When we get up out of here, we always like to say, I know it's the winter time for y'all up north. Please bundle up. Be safe with the storm that's coming. It's definitely nice and warm down here with 70 degrees over the weekend. But please make sure y'all take care of y'all mentals. Make sure y'all take care of y'all physicals. Take care of y'all chicken. Take care of y'all children. And we'll catch y'all on a rebound.
The Bears are who we thought they were. That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.